Can hear you now.
Okay,
That's
okay. And perhaps Jericho can advance the slides at one point. Okay. Okay, so on our first slide, there was a large number of logos for a number of organizations who've helped us to develop our training platform. So they have either presented or helped us with training material, provide the infrastructure, or provide the trainers. So, so I'm from CSIRO. Our training partners are BioPlatforms Australia, and Jericho is from Monash University. So the next slide will tell you a little bit about who we are. So I work for CSIRO, which is Australia's National Science Agency. We've got about 5,000 staff across 50 locations across Australia, and well over half of those are life scientists. Our training partner is BioPlatforms Australia. They manage the Australian government's investment in genomics, metabolomics, proteomics and bioinformatics. So they have facilities which generate genomics, metabolomics and proteomics data with associated bioinformatics. So we got started on bioinformatics training because I guess probably 5 years ago I did a training needs survey when I started my role to see what were people interested in bioinformatics. So there's a broad group of people, from biostatisticians through to bench biologists, and they had a very broad range of training needs. If you go on to the next slide. We saw that our challenge was to increase bioinformatics literacy, capability and competencies in a diverse group of people. So as I said, from biostatisticians through to bioinformaticians and bench biologists. The number of that group was relatively small, and they were scattered throughout Australia in a large number of the 50 sites that we occupy. Similarly, BioPlatforms Australia needed to provide training for a similarly diverse, similarly relatively small and also geographically dispersed group of bioinformaticians and the biologists that they work with. So we started a training collaboration. So what we hoped to do was to create a critical mass of trainers who could address all of the many and diverse training needs that we identified further back. And we were going to do this by using trainers from within our network, so from both CSIRO and from the organizations that BioPlatforms Australia supports. These trainers are all volunteers. They have all got day jobs, so we wanted to make sure we built a community, so a larger group that was cohesive. And what we aimed to do was to deliver hands-on training workshops to our groups scattered throughout Australia's major cities. So where did we start in developing a program? We approached the EMBL EBI to help us. They've got a great deal of bioinformatics training experience and a dedicated group that supports this. They had run many successful workshops in a wide variety of bioinformatics topics, similar to what we were hoping to do, and they were very willing to help us get underway. So what we undertook was a series of train the trainer workshops. So what I mean by that is that we attended courses as trainees, and we then did some further work with EBI after those courses to learn how to train adults in a professional setting, and then to develop a course outline. At that point it was just an outline using EBI's material and also using some of our own material. This course would be developed when we return to Australia. Okay, next slide please. So we started on this journey 4 years ago, and we've undertaken a number of courses. These courses are an introduction to NGS, where we attended a 3-day course in 2012. 8 trainers from our networks attended as participants and observers. And from that 3-day course, we did a 2-day train the trainer workshop and developed a 3-day course of our own from that material. In 2013, We then attended a metagenomics workshop, which is on the next slide. I'm not sure if you can see it. Okay, excellent. We attended a 3-day metagenomics training workshop. We took a different group of trainers because we need to expand our network. And we developed an outline for a 2-day Introduction to Metagenomics course when we returned. Then last year we did 2 courses. This was again in conjunction with the EBI. Last year we undertook a cancer genomics workshop, which is on the next slide. This was a 5-day course run at EBI. We again took a different set of trainers to that course, 9 trainers in total, and from that course we developed a 3-day cancer genomics workshop. The week after this, the next slide. The week after that, we also attended a de novo genome assembly workshop focused on eukaryotes and prokaryotes, this time in conjunction with the Genome Analysis Centre in Norwich. Again, we're expanding our offering, and we had 10 different trainers on this course. From that course, we developed a 2.5-day de novo genome assembly course. So the target audience for this training are bench biologists, and what we're aiming to do is obviously not to create fully fledged bioinformaticians, but really what we're hoping at the end of these workshops is that scientists can look independently at their own data, and also that they have learned enough from the conversations and material that they've learned to be able to engage in more productive conversations with bioinformaticians in their own organizations. We select our attendees via a selection process to make sure they're all at the same level and that we can meet their expectations. This is an outline of our Introduction to NGS course, and it contains all of the things that you would expect in a broad introductory course. Because they're bench biologists, we're assuming no Linux knowledge. We're also assuming little knowledge of alignment, ChIP-seq, RNA-seq, and de novo genome assembly. We're just assuming that they're getting started, and that's the case in many scenarios. So with the help of EBI, we have put together some material, but really our challenge was in delivering the workshops. So despite having many locations and many constituent organizations, we had no dedicated training facilities. And even if we did, we were hoping to deliver this workshop in a roadshow format. So we were hoping to go around to all of the major cities. You probably know most of the people in Australia live in a small number of large cities around the coast. And we have people who would be interested in these courses in all of those cities. So because we don't have training facilities, we're very much dependent on the goodwill of universities who would allow us to use their training rooms during semester breaks. So we want to minimize the amount of maintenance for that training environment. And also because our target audience are biologists, we don't want to scare them off by showing the first thing coming in the first morning, command line prompt. So we want to make sure that the training environment goes largely unseen and that it's user-friendly for the audience. And because we're operating as a network, we also want to make the material publicly available and as reusable as possible because all of our network are volunteers. So the answer for us really was the cloud, and we were very lucky that at that time Australia was building its own research cloud. And I'll hand over to Jericho now, who will take you through more of the technical details of what we've done and how we've implemented that.
So we are using VirtualBox and VMware.